Hello friends, welcome back to Neetu's Library. I hope you are enjoying listening to our stories. If you like it, then please comment and let us know. Today, I have brought for you all a story written by R K Narayan. The name of the story is The English Teacher. So come on friends, let's begin. Krishna is the main character of the present novel, and he is a teacher of English in Albert Mission College, Malgudi, where he has been a student earlier. He recounts a typical day at work in the opening chapter of the novel. He goes about his work mechanically without deriving any real pleasure or satisfaction out of it. He is therefore amused when the principal, Mr. Brown, convenes a meeting of the faculty after college hours to impress upon his colleagues, especially those in the Department of English, to help maintain purity and perfection in the language. He is particularly agitated when the students adopt American spellings for English words. Example, the spelling honors as honors. Krishna tries to make light of the situation, but his head and former teacher, Gajapati, sides with Brown. He tells Gajapati that there are blacker sins in this world than a dropped vowel, but Gajapati just walks away. Krishna discusses the matter with his colleagues in the hostel that evening and is told that the English department existed solely for dotting the I's and crossing the T's. He is restless because his heart is not in the job, and he is sticking to it only because he is being paid 100 rupees a month for it. Nor does he think very highly of his colleagues. Krishna decides to take himself in hand and decides to go for a walk early in the morning. On his return, he decides to devote some time to writing poetry. He is convinced that he is going to make a mark in this field and become a famous poet one day, although he has not yet decided which language, English or Tamil, is going to be enriched by his contribution. He decides to put this plan into action immediately before mugging up his lessons every morning and make his unwilling students to mug them up in order to do well in the examinations. He receives a letter from his father informing him that he should now start setting up his house with his wife and daughter and leave the college hostel. He goes out hunting for a house. When he finds one, he moves out of the hostel. His mother arrives with his wife and child and helps him in starting his own household. His mother, a stickler for a neat and clean and well-ordered household, trains Krishna's wife Sushila in all household matters and leaves after 2 months. A period of domestic bliss starts. Sushila waits for him every afternoon in the doorway, every afternoon when he returns from college, and serves him coffee and snacks. While she is busy preparing dinner, Krishna plays with the child and looks after her. His mother's rigorous training has made Sushila a responsible housewife. She is a ruthless accountant who keeps track of all the expenses. He finds that there is an autocratic strain in her and unsuspected depths of rage when it comes to keeping accounts and managing their monthly provisions. This often leads to minor squabbles between the two. Sushila is disturbed when Krishna's mother sends an old woman from the village to keep her in the kitchen so that she can devote more time to the child. An additional member in the house means more expenses and wastage, and Sushila grumbles about it. But eventually, she accepts the old lady's presence in the house. She is a firm believer in the adage that they must live within their means and save enough for the child. She has firmly decided to have just one child and does not like it when Krishna jokes about having more children. With the future in mind, she plans all their finances. Sushila encourages Krishna to write poetry but makes fun of him as he tries to reproduce Wordsworth's lines. She was a phantom of delight to please and impress her, since he cannot hit upon any subject to give vent to his poetic aspirations. She accuses him of copying and urges him to be original. Their first serious quarrel is caused by Sushila's selling of Krishna's old clock, which keeps irregular time and its alarm rings at all odd hours, thus disturbing the sleeping child, as well as his old papers. Krishna shouts at her and she starts sobbing. They refuse to talk to each other for 48 hours. Both of them feel miserable about it. It is Krishna who eventually breaks the ice by taking her to a film. They decide not to quarrel in the future because, as Sushila puts it, they say such quarrels affect a child's health. Krishna is happy when, on the occasion of the child's 3rd birthday, his father offers him a loan to buy his own house in Malgudi. The couple start discussing the sort of house they would like to buy, as Krishna thinks it's too much of a bother to buy a plot of land and build a house on it. So, on a Sunday morning, after entrusting the child to the care of the old lady, they set out to inspect the various houses on offer in Lolly Extension through Krishna's colleague Shastri, the logic teacher turned builder. Sushila looks resplendent in her favorite indigo sari. She looks indeed a phantom of delight to a bewitched Krishna. There is a perpetual smile in her eyes, and she exudes the fragrance of jasmine. Krishna decides to call her Jasmine hereafter and name their house Jasmine Home. But before going to Lolly Extension, Krishna takes her to Bombay Ananda Bhavan for breakfast. Then they take a detour to the river to wash her feet. They inspect a number of houses in Lolly Extension and finally select one as their future abode. As Krishna is discussing the price and other details with Shastri and the building contractor, Sushila walks into a filthy lavatory in the back of the house and locks herself in. Krishna kicks open the door, and when Sushila comes out, she appears disturbed. The filth inside the lavatory has nauseated her and a fly has sat on her lips. But she temporarily feels better as they visit a nearby temple on their way back. Feeling uneasy, Sushila lies down when they return home. She is unable to have her food as she recalls her experience of having been locked up inside the lavatory. She remains confined to her bed for the next 4 days. But when she shows no signs of recovery, Krishna is worried. He decides to consult a doctor. Krishna goes to Dr. Shankar of Krishna Medical Hall. Dr. Shankar is the most successful medical practitioner in Malgudi, and his clinic is always crowded with patients. There is a kind of red tapeism and mechanical nature of dispensing medicines in the clinic which Krishna doesn't like. But he had no choice but to bear with it. The doctor prescribes some medicines for Sushila, but is too busy to visit her at home. But when these medicines have no effect, he visits Sushila at home and tries to cheer her. Initially, he diagnoses Sushila's illness as malaria, but when her fever does not come down, he takes a sample of her blood and arrives at the conclusion that she is suffering from typhoid. Sushila's room is turned into a sick ward. Her concerned parents arrive and her father takes turns with Krishna to nurse Sushila and keep a vigil on her condition at night. The child is kept away from her mother. She is looked after by the old lady and Sushila's mother. When Sushila's condition does not improve, Dr. Shankar has her examined by a visiting doctor from Madras. But it is too late now. Sushila dies, leaving behind a blind, dumb, and dazed Krishna, her disconsolate parents, and the child. She is cremated according to Hindu rites on the banks of the river beyond Nallappa's grove. The short domestic idyll comes to an end.